Hello, and welcome to Exposed Urban TV, Episode 2. I'm Corey Jackson, and I'm here with Michael Graninger. Yep. And we're going to be talking about urban agriculture, urban sustainability, aquaponics, hydroponics, all that fun stuff today. I wanted to remind you to use podcast at exposedurban.tv. If you have any questions, any suggestions, anything you'd like us to know about today's podcast or last week's podcast. Hopefully you've all had a chance to watch all that and take in the content on exposedurban.com. If you do go to exposedurban.com, on that top left corner, there's this great little box. Plug in your email address. We'll get you our content right away, the next day, in your inbox. So let's get started. This looks so delicious. I cannot wait to eat some of this stuff.
It does. It's good with vinaigrette dressing, too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice. Did you bring any?
I didn't.
We need dressing.
It's good. It's good enough without.
Michael, tell us a little bit about your background. You've been working in this field for a long time now.
Well, I've been involved in horticulture since almost being a kid. I grew up on a family farm in the northwest corner of Illinois, and a 100-acre farm, and kind of just loved being there, you know. And then my dad was transferred out to the East Coast here, and when you're a kid, you don't have a whole lot to say about where you're going to go. You're just like, yeah, sure, let's go. You know?
All right.
So, my dad worked here in Lynn, and so past that, I kind of left the farm behind for a while, and then kind of came full circle about 20 years later professionally, and I'm an interior landscaper by trade.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Interesting.
And, food, as far as being important to people, brings people around a table. You can actually have a conversation, share a glass of wine.
Yeah.
You know, but more importantly, it's that connection that people have, I think, around a table. But so that's why food's important. And then past that is local food production, and some of the reasons why that's important, especially in this genre, you know, understanding that local food production will reduce carbon emissions dramatically. 1/5 of all carbon emissions come from agriculture, agricultural production, in particular livestock. So there's a reason to kind of move to a more vegetable-based or plant-based diet. And if you do that, then there's some nutritional benefits and health benefits that go along with that. So you're kind of solving a number of problems that our society deals with.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the technologies here. So we've got an example of an aquaponics starter and a hydroponic starter. Could you talk about the differences between those?
Basically the difference between an aquaponic system and a hydroponic system is that this requires inputs. Okay. Simply stated, you have to add nutritional trace elements to the water to get the plants to grow.
Okay. Like what?
With aquaponics.
Like what, for example, would you have to add?
Well, trace elements are going to be any sort of phosphates, magnesium, calcium, boron, those sorts of trace elements that help plants grow. Okay. What aquaponics does is it brings fish into the system, which require there's still an input, but the input comes from the fish, the natural fertilizer through their, business, as they say, and that helps the plants grow. Okay. And the difference between the two systems is one is a closed system and one is an open system, where so you require input. So hydroponics is input. A closed system is with the fish.
So do we prefer the closed system?
No, they're both quite good systems, actually. Do we prefer it? Only because it's a sustainable system, where so hydroponics isn't as sustainable. Okay. So
well, and you eat the fish in the aquaponic stuff, right?
You sure can. Yeah. I had some tilapia on Friday evening, and we finished it off with a little bit of wasabi and soy sauce. Just a real light touch, and it was wonderful.
Delicious.
Oh yeah.
We have any of that here?
I didn't bring it. Actually, I could have. I didn't even think of it. Actually,
you got a microwave, don't we?
Indeed, the kids love it.
So what are we looking at here? This was grown in a hydroponic system?
So basically, you'll see, if I take this out of the pod that it resides in, and the pod gives it some structure and helps the plants kind of go from here to here, but you'll see some white veins on the growing medium. Those are their roots. They reach for the water, of course. And then what happens as it matures, and depending on your system and the time of the year and how much light you get, this is what develops as a full head of lettuce from this. So, you know, yield is predicated by light and the time of year.
So you do need a light. It could be artificial light, or
artificial light. 17 to 18 hours a day is optimum.
So if the sun goes away, we're all set.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think
we'll
we
have
need
other
the sun.
problems. Yeah. All right. Well,
So,
can we eat some of this?
Yeah, sure.
Well, I'd like to try this.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
It smells fantastic.
Yeah, it's totally clean.
You guys smell
there's
this?
no pesticides. One of
You
the
want some?
advantage to this is there's no pesticides, herbicides required to grow these. And in your typical agricultural environment where they're growing in soil and they're perhaps using a genetically modified seed, they tatter that plant with a lot of chemicals that leach into the ground. And if you were to follow that fertilizer all the way downstream, it resides in the Gulf of Mexico. And there's a whole dead zone, basically from fertilization process. Because of all of the heavy chemicals we use, they flow right down the Mississippi into the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh wow. Uh-huh.
Not a real good situation.
So you don't even need to really clean these?
You don't have to clean it or anything. You can wash it.
Yeah.
You know, you probably want to wash it. But aside from that, there's no pesticides supplied to this.
Fantastic. So we wanted to talk about, you talked about this concept of city ponics when we were talking earlier. Could you go into that a little bit?
City ponics is it stems from an idea, village ponics, which is just basically trying to have a base of knowledge centrally located in each urban environment that can address many different ways to grow. In the city of Lynn, currently you have the Food Project. They use soil just down the street on Monroe Ave. There are warehouse type operations that they grow everything indoors, such as terrasphere or sweet water. Those are warehouse applications to growing food. And then you want to also take advantage of the sun, so you can have greenhouses in the city. And those are kind of the ideas of spreading that knowledge base, having a central location where people can learn about how to do that, and then also just have them concentrate on growing and let the central urban farm basically become the marketing place where they handle the distribution, they handle the seeds, they kind of almost time everything. And if you look at it as a big network, which is what we're all based upon, that network would be able to have technology that drives into it so that you could have alarm systems or systems that would, you know, say, oh, you got pH out at lot number A, okay? You gotta increase your oxygen content over at B. So then all of these things could work in concert where so the folks that grow it in their small sites would then have support from a main body.
Yeah, that's great.
Basically,
yeah,
that's the idea.
Food project down here, and in a lot of locations in Massachusetts, and I think probably a lot of urban centers have something similar.
They do.
Our residents are starting to get plots, you know, $15 a season. They're learning how to farm again. You know, it's fantastic. So to see that then branch out into maybe we can get things on our rooftops or indoors if that's possible.
I think that if you were to look at the structure of organizations and requiring a return on investment, one of the things that's prohibitive is using renewable energy and then getting a return on investment. But if you have a nonprofit cooperative, okay, then you might be able to have not have to worry so much about that return on investment, but then be able to have a completely closed system where so you wouldn't require any energy inputs, and that would be really exciting.
Yeah, very. Well, this has been great. The last thing I wanted to just touch on, you said you do indoor landscaping.
I do,
as a trade.
Yep.
So could you talk about what does that mean?
Sure. So if you go into a hotel or perhaps a Class A office building or any building that wants to have live plants, plants kind of get unnoticed. And there's a whole business
and
behind
unwatered.
that. Well, sometimes unwatered. You don't want to do that. Plants actually don't require as much water as most people think. The logic goes like this: geez, my plant doesn't look great. I'll give it some more water. Well, before you know, it's drowning.
Yeah.
And it still doesn't look good. So actually water, has to be in balance with everything, like in the environment, and even in a working environment like that. So what I do is I manage folks and jobs and projects where interior landscaping, whether they're large beds or containerized plants, it's a pretty popular business. It's been around 35 years. We're one of the larger kids on the block, and it's a great place to work.
That's great.
Yeah.
You do things on smaller scales in residential
units? That's always the misconception, is that we don't want to actually work with smaller folks, but just about any size opportunity is great. Yeah. That's how they built their entire business.
Cool.
Excellent.
Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing these.
I appreciate your time today.
This great food.
Yes, enjoy.
Locally grown, sustainably grown. It's a fantastic thing. I hope this. It seems to be gaining a lot of traction in the world. On Twitter, it's just alive with people talking about it. So.
It is, and rightly so. I mean, it solves a lot of the issues that we're faced with today, and certainly that's what we're here to do: is solve problems as we live together as human beings.
Amen.
And
thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, my pleasure.
Great. So thanks for watching. We're going to be back next week with some talk about some urban transit. So definitely tune in on exposedurban.com. Remember to sign up for that mailing list, top left corner, and podcast at exposedurban.tv. If you have anything you want to say to us, we'll get back to you. We'll incorporate your feedback. We really enjoy that you're watching this and hope that you're enjoying it too. Thank you.